Hello, everyone. Welcome back to JET Philatelics. So, as promised, today's the day we're going to talk about World Postcard Day 2022. Now, I know what you're thinking, Jack. It's been over 6 months since World Postcard Day 2022. This better be the best episode you've ever made since it took half a year to produce. No. So, the footage I have from the event is actually not as great as I thought it was. And instead of not doing the episode and not sharing the story, which I think is cool enough to share, the behind the scenes, I would get creative and use DreamStudio from last episode to help me tell the story visually, and then I would narrate over those visuals. So, without further ado, here is my behind the scenes recap of World Postcard Day 2022. The idea really started after I saw how beautiful the World Postcard Day design was for 2022. At the time, I was working on a bunch of post-crossing cards and sending them out. And then I had the ridiculous idea of sending a lot out, or as many as I could. And then it would be a fun way to kind of spread the word about sending snail mail and postcards and post-crossing, because it really is a fun hobby. And I wanted to share that. It was honestly a selfish thing because I figured if I sent someone a postcard, they would get hooked and then they would send me postcards. The exact figure of 500 was more of just on the ridiculous side of things, if that wasn't obvious enough already. I figured 100 was too easy at the time and that 500 would be manageable if I did them in a few weeks' time. I then sat down, ordered the cards, and then when everything was said and done, I had more than 500, so I figured I would give some away as gifts, and I would give some to family and friends, and I would have extras for mistakes, which there were many. I decided on matte finish, since I thought that was nicer than gloss, and I still do, and then I ordered the postage. So the postage was the next big expense. I think I ended up getting 5 coils of the barn postcard rate stamps and a couple sheets of the international global stamps. So all said and done, it was an expensive project, but it was fun nonetheless. During episode 2, I had mentioned, after revealing all the postcards, that I would write them ahead of time and then send them all out on World Postcard Day. I'm glad I mentioned it and didn't promise it because the day before World Postcard Day came by, I was sitting down writing out my postcards as fast as I could, waiting until the last minute to get 500 done. It was no longer an easy task, but a daunting one that proved to be incredibly inefficient, and I could see why no one ever sends out 500 because it is ridiculous. Regardless, I promised I would get them done, and so all throughout the night to about 4:30 in the morning on October 1st, I was sat at the dining room table. Lights were dimmed to not disturb the house. I was half awake writing postcards, kicking myself for biting off way more than I could chew. My mom and my sister came to the rescue the next morning since I could not keep my eyes open, and they decided to help me write some out. I am very grateful because without them, all 500 would not have been sent, and that would have been super embarrassing. We did sit there for a long time writing out cards, serializing each one out of 500, taking the barns off the coil, stamping each card. It really was a postcard factory on my dining room table. The evening came around. It was time to drop them off. The post office was officially closed at that point, so any hopes of them getting postmarked the day of were sadly squashed, but nevertheless, we went to a few different USPS boxes around the area and we dropped them off. I think I frustrated a lot of postmasters in the surrounding towns since I later found out a vast majority of the postcards I'd sent were in fact not canceled. People sent me pictures of their cards when they got them, and a lot of them, most of them, did not have any cancellation on the barn stamp at all. However, some of them did get a postmark. Some of them did get, I believe, a hand stamp on the World Postcard Day logo on the writing side of the card. So at least some of them did get a postmark or a hand stamp on their card. So that's the story, really. It ended up being not as exciting as I had hoped and hyped it up to be because of my own fault. And staying up all night to write them makes it more of a chore than something I wanted to enjoy, but it ended up being a fun family project that is still something we talk about and remember fondly 6 months ago. I also looked at the statistics. So it was mostly a New Jersey postcard day as far as JET Philatelics was concerned. Almost 75% of my cards were sent domestically here in the United States, and of that, New Jersey was the biggest destination by far. I still had fun writing to countries around the world though. Not including the United States, this gave me the opportunity to send cards to 25 different countries around the world in one weekend's time, which is probably my favorite aspect of the whole thing. But my favorite cards were the ones going to charities I support, thanking them for the hard work they did, many of which are here in New Jersey. So, all in all, it really was a great experience. It was terribly rushed, and that's my fault, but it was a good experience nonetheless. It was a good memory I made with my family, and I do look forward to this year's World Postcard Day. And although I am not sending 500 postcards again, I do encourage everyone watching to participate in some form or fashion. Thank you for watching, everyone. I do look forward to seeing you in the next episode, which will be in just a couple weeks. For real this time, not 6 months like this video. It's going to be a lot of fun, so I will see you then.